もう分かったでしょ。俺の術式は魂に触れその形を変える。無為転変。
Idol Transfiguration, an extremely dangerous technique that can kill with only a single touch. This is an ability that has destroyed so many people, and Mahito has proven that he indeed does have one of the most powerful curse techniques in all of Jujutsu Kaisen, but a word that describes his curse technique the best would be disturbing. But before we dive into Mahito's curse technique further, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the notification bell to stay updated on my latest uploads. This video will contain spoilers from the manga. Mahito is easily one of the best antagonists that we've seen in Jujutsu Kaisen, his characteristics down to his abilities, but I want us to understand why Mahito's curse technique, known as Idol Transfiguration, is the most disturbing we've seen so far, and how we could possibly see this technique being used again in the future. So why don't we get straight in? This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. With their help, I was able to make this video you guys are watching now. But as for Raid Shadow Legends, it has completely taken over, especially with the insane console level graphics that it has. They have set the bar really high and there's no going back. As for what to expect from Raid Shadow Legends, is that you get to explore millions of champion combinations and master countless tactics as you take on raid bosses, dungeon runs, campaign battles, as well as PvP arena matches. With hundreds of artifacts to equip and over 600 champions, blessed with unique skills, you can build your team, develop your champions, and raid your way. There are various champions that you can attain when playing Raid Shadow Legends. Since I've been playing Raid for quite a while now, my personal favorite champions would have to be Royal God, who is known for only one thing, and that is wrecking bosses. He has an extremely powerful ability that scales damage based on enemy max HP, in addition to all the other damage it deals. He can also both paralyze a boss and deal incredible damage all in one package. Royal God is legendary. My other favorite champion would have to be Kyoku. She's one of the best team defenders in Raid with a single incredible skill. She can place 50% ally protection on her allies for 2 turns and place block damage on herself for 3 turns, then give herself an extra turn with a 4-turn cooldown. She seriously is an incredible defensive champion. Well, for the month of October, Raid's just released a giant new feature, Awakening, and a brutal new dungeon, the Iron Twins Fortress. If you're good enough to take down the Iron Twins, you'll see a huge payoff, being able to awaken your champions. Awakening your champions lets you choose a powerful blessing that can transform how they perform in battle. I absolutely love how awesome some of these blessings look, and there's so much variety. This whole feature has added an entirely new level of depth and strategy, and I've been having a ton of fun playing around and testing things out. But there's more. Raid has just released a super powered legendary version of everybody's favorite champion, Death Knight. The whole Raid community has been waiting for this for a long time, and Ultimate Death Knight is everything we hope for. He's poised, he's powerful, he's perfect, and the best part is, everyone can get him for free just by logging in. All you have to do is log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and October 27th, and you'll add Ultimate Death Knight to your collection. It's as easy as that. There's seriously never been a better time to get started, but obviously there's more. You can also use the DK Rises promo code for a bunch of free items to instantly level your new strongest champion all the way to level 50 5-star Ascension. Promo code is available for both new and existing players, and if you haven't started playing Raid yet, click my link in the description or scan my QR code here on the screen. You'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking a free epic champion, Vergis, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, and 1 XP boost, and even 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. All this treasure will be waiting for you here, and it's as easy as that. Just click the link in the description and I'll see you guys in the game. But with that said, let's get back into the video. Well, to start things off, let's understand the name Idol Transfiguration. The Japanese pronunciation for this technique is Kaizo Ningen, which in English actually means modified human. I mean, it's a huge name difference in what we get in the series. But with that said, let's break down the meaning of Idol Transfiguration, as idle tends to mean lazy or not doing anything, whereas transfiguration means a complete change of form or appearance into a more beautiful or spiritual state. So if you put 2 and 2 together, we understand why both words were put together to create the name of Mahito's curse technique. In a way, its meaning relates to something that becomes an incredibly beautiful sculpture, and in the series Mahito would alter the looks of humans, but they'd be far from beautiful. I guess these ugly creatures which Mahito created from humans are what Mahito thought was beautiful, but the English translation of Kaizo Ningen, which is modified humans, literally explains Mahito's technique, since he is able to alter a human's entire body with just a single touch. So how exactly does Mahito's idol transfiguration work? I mean, at the beginning of the series when we were first introduced to Mahito's technique, I was just as baffled as you guys on how he was able to simply transform one's body with just a single touch. Well, idol transfiguration allows the user to reshape the soul of themselves or anyone they physically touch. The shape of the body is dependent on the shape of the soul, so if the soul is distorted, so too is the body. Therefore, someone using idol transfiguration can disfigure their target's body into something grotesque by warping their soul's shape with just a touch. So it all depends on the soul. Mahito's specialty to manipulate the shape of the soul through the most minimal contact is overpowered if you tell me. Idol transfiguration attacks the soul, and through the logic of Mahito's, in which the soul came before the body, is what allows him to transfigure the human body. But in certain instances, Mahito isn't able to transfigure the human body. But why? Well, when it comes down to the likes of Yuji, he also has the soul of Sukuna within his own body. This made it extremely difficult for Mahito to transfigure Yuji, since Sukuna himself prevented this from happening. So there are weaknesses which come with this incredibly overpowered curse technique. But for one to ultimately evade the idol transfiguration, they need to stay out of range of Mahito's attacks and protect their soul with cursed energy. Although it does help, the more hits Mahito does on an individual who has their soul protected through cursed energy, the more at risk his opponent is to being transfigured. So protecting the soul with cursed energy doesn't totally make you immune to Mahito's curse technique. With that said, techniques like Nobara Kugisaki's are especially difficult to handle, as her ability is not only long range, but can attack the soul directly through sympathetic resonance. Mahito called her a natural enemy of his due to this. However, idol transfiguration can still injure the body if the user touches their target, even if it doesn't fully distort their soul enough to deal a fatal blow. Even so, after 2 or 3 more direct attacks to the soul, even if it's being protected by cursed energy, the target will no longer be human. So regardless, idol transfiguration is a rampant technique. In his spare time, Mahito uses idol transfiguration to experiment with human souls. For example, he transfigures human bodies to see how big and small they can get via disfiguration. He even carries around small transfigured humans, which can be manipulated further to create larger monsters that obey Mahito. That's basically what Mahito's curse technique is. So let's now understand the extension techniques which are a part of Mahito's idol transfiguration. The first one being Mahito's soul multiplicity, as this was first used against Satoru Gojo. Soul multiplicity usually works together with Mahito's body repel, which I'll explain shortly. Soul multiplicity uses the rejection of fusion to create an overwhelming output of transfiguration. Next up is Mahito's body repel, as he uses body repel as a special mid-range attack that greatly adds to the unpredictability to his offense. Body repel can take many different forms. In fact, it has looked different every time Mahito has unleashed it. Following up is polymorphic soul isoma. Utilizing soul multiplicity, Mahito combines numerous souls with weak rejection to create one body. This manifests a highly stable and extremely strong transfigured human that doesn't speak and has little to no chance of dying off on its own. A polymorphic soul isoma is an attack specialist with explosive power behind its hits. This is due to soul multiplicity expending numerous souls to create it. However, the trade-off for its extraordinary strength is its lack of durability. A polymorphic soul isoma can be killed with a single direct hit using cursed energy. And finally, a part of Mahito's insane array of techniques which utilize idol transfiguration is Mahito's instant spirit body of distorted killing. This is a special self-transfiguration that morphs the user into a much more powerful state. Due to the nature of idol transfiguration and its connection to the soul, instant spirit body of distorted killing can only be achieved when the user realizes the truest essence of their being. This technique not only greatly alters the user's appearance, but augments their abilities as well, granting them incredible offensive and defensive prowess. Now, why exactly have I described Mahito's idol transfiguration as the most disturbing in Jujutsu Kaisen? Well, that's mainly because of Mahito using it on humans and turning them into whatever he likes. We noticed at the beginning of the Shibuya incident arc how Mahito indeed is capable of restoring a deformed body back to normal when he transformed Mechamaru back to normal, but Mahito would rather use this technique to wreak havoc. One of the biggest reasons as to why I find his technique so disturbing is when he had used it on Junpei, manipulating a young boy and then violently transfiguring him for no reason. The transformation was so violent that it killed Junpei instantly, leaving him to die a horrible death. Not only that, but during the Shibuya incident arc, he turned every human inside of the train into his own disfigured puppets. But the biggest heartbreak was when Mahito's idol transfiguration was successful in supposedly killing Nobara, blowing up the side of her face and losing an eye. All in all, Mahito's idol transfiguration is a very disturbing technique, and with it now being in the hands of Kenjaku, who knows what he could do with it. Kenjaku now has the capability to use idol transfiguration on a global scale, which will push the sorcerers tighter in this already squashed corner. With that said, this was just a short explanation of Mahito's curse technique and why I find it to be one of the most disturbing in the series. If there are any other techniques you'd like me to dive into, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. As always, like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next one.